Hello and welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines 2. Today's video is the start of a new series where I'll be trying out new mods to build a custom city in Cities Skylines. So I hope you join in on this journey and let's be creative. Alright, so I'm gonna start this new city on the Archipelago Haven map. Now I'm just going to be extending the 4-lane road of the intersection just to lay out the foundation of the city. Probably I'm going to add another one going off the roundabout in the other direction, just in case I'll be expanding this area in the future. Here's an easy tip to think about when you're planning your city. Is to always think of the roads as arteries. You have your highway as your main or big artery, and then you branch off smaller and smaller. You can use the alley road as your smallest road, or the pedestrian road I guess, but I find the alley road is perfect for building low-density residential areas. Here I'm trying to divide the grids into smaller areas and big areas just to get that variety of buildings. There's always an option to choose a pedestrian road to play around with the zoning, but for this area I would like to have it as commercial. In this district I'm trying to avoid using straight roads as much as possible, just to differentiate it from the area next to it. As you can see, it's very gritty and very organized. I would say I'm going to be using this area for service buildings and some commercial. Alright, now we're done with the first part of this city. I'm gonna be adding electricity. Of course for this part, I'm gonna be choosing the battery to store my energy. I'm trying to avoid the green energy just for the moment, just to produce that extra buck. If I wanted to import some electricity, you know, the extra electricity my city doesn't need. On a side note, does anyone else find those high voltage cable connections really weird? I don't like them. They look... I don't know. It's always the first placement of buildings that really counts, and then the road should follow naturally. I think I need to, like, surround those two buildings together in one road, but I don't want it to look really basic. Just to, like, add that character to the roads. I'm alternating between the alley road and the two-lane road. And here I have to extend the 4-lane road just to make that extra connection. Of course, I shouldn't forget about hooking the power plant to the outside connection, and then hook up the electricity on the other side of the highway, because highways in Cities Skylines do not transmit electricity, although I'm not sure if highways in real life do transmit electricity, but they do have lights, don't they? And by following that logic, you would think they should transmit electricity. I'm not really sure. And now that we are finished with electricity, I'm going to be setting up the water system, and I'm going to be trying out the groundwater pumping station just to see how long would it take for the groundwater to dry up. I want the placement of the groundwater pumping station to look like as if though it is in an isolated rural area, and these regions usually have that messy look to them. Now that I am finished with setting up the groundwater pumping station, I'm gonna move on into my backup plan, which is just adding the normal pumping station on the river, just in case the groundwater dries up. Now I'm going to be trying to detail for the first time in Cities Skylines 2. Those trees are growable, so they require time to grow and become fuller. I heard there are some modes you can download to make your trees grow faster. Now that we're done with water, we're moving on into sewage. I'm just going to try to place it as far as possible from the water source. Here we go, we have tiny village. And now we have unlocked medium density row housing, healthcare, deathcare, and garbage. Just to finish off with the sewage building, I'm just going to be connecting it to a nearby road to get that process going. Alright, now that's done, I'm going to be adding the chemical purification to the sewage building. This one reduces the amount of pollutants in the water. And I'm also going to go with the extra settling tank. This one increases the water flow and reduces the amount of sewage being expelled. I might be changing that for a greener option in the future, but until then, I think this is the best solution at the moment. Now on to adding the good old medical clinic to take care of our city's healthcare demands. But those Sims are never grateful. I think I'll have to build them an official hospital very soon. I am going to place the building here like this, nothing too fancy. I'll maybe add a parking lot once it is available, but I don't think I have enough development points, so I'll just buy the roundabouts for the time being. Let's set up for our lovely Sims their best garbage management we can afford. I just like to place them next to the freeway just because it feels like a natural spot for it to be. I might move it if it starts to look ugly once I expand the residential areas around it, but I'm not really sure at this point. For the time being, I think it's a good placement. Now let's hook it up to a road real quick. Well, it doesn't look the best, does it? But it's okay. It's gonna be a temporary replacement for this garbage center. But now, let's work on something else, and put a classic cemetery in our city. I also like to place it next to the highway. or as close to the trees and bushes as possible, just because it blends in well and hides its symmetrical rectangular shape. I think it looks unnatural, but hey, it works, right? I really like this so far, and once I expand the areas next to it, it should blend in well. So now I'll be focusing on expanding the suburb and be right back soon. Alright, now that the district is all set, I'm gonna place some medium density row housing in the tidy section, but I have to make sure the zoning does not neighbor two roads, otherwise I'll get weird buildings, each growing in a different direction. So, to avoid all that fuss, I'm just gonna zone the grids on one road and one road only, and try to avoid zoning corner grids. Okay, now that I'm done with that, I'll continue zoning the majority of this neighborhood with low density residential. I'm also gonna zone some low density commercial in between to give our new residents a place to shop. Oops, It appears that I have forgotten something to do with the sewage system. Yep, it is the crossover pipelines underneath the highway. Apparently, freeways not only do not carry electricity, they do not have piping infrastructure as well. Now that we grew our population a bit, I'll have to satisfy the industry demand. However, I am not gonna go crazy with the zoning. I'll only build a tiny industry area away from the residential district. Also, you have to pay close attention to the arrows, which represent the direction of wind flow, because they can carry pollution to your citizens, especially if you build your industry in the wrong area. It's okay, it should not be too much. I was thinking about moving this industry to the port that we are going to build next episode to try out historical start mode by Algernon. But in this area, I will build more medium density row housing. So here I am going to add a pedestrian road between the row houses, and by using the ducks in a row mode, I'll place some bushes along the path. You can activate this mode by pressing the left shift button on your keyboard, and then you can hear a sound. And to adjust the spaces between the plants, you can do that by pressing the up and down keys. Unfortunately, at this stage, we can only have trees and bushes lined up in a straight line, although I do wish we have more flexibility. For example, by placing trees in circles or bent lines freely, just like what we used to have in Cities Skylines 1. Just while I was finishing up with the medium density row houses suburb, we hit a small village. Now I am able to get some parking and I can set up some school buildings in the city. I'll start by placing down the elementary school building and a parking lot. This would increase attractiveness, especially when I add a children's clinic to the building. I am gonna place a high school building next door as well. This should make public transportation much easier for the citizens in the future. I want the parking lot to face the other way, not the main road. I think I'll have to delete just a small bit on the second grid probably. Yep, this one, and then I'll try and place the parking lot on that road. See how that one goes. Yep, there we go. Now I'm just gonna be placing the high school building. It's a big building. Yep, it should fit here. I am not sure if it is necessary to add another parking area for the high school. I'm just gonna add the children's clinic for now. One thing I really hate about those extensions is that they do not like to have a road in between them. They just stick to the main building and have zero flexibility. Yep, this should work just fine. Now I'll just be connecting the roads together. Oh, it appears that we have an electrical issue. This looks like a bottleneck, but that's okay. This happens when you have clusters of buildings drawing too much electricity through one point. In our case, the electricity is only coming from the full-lane road, so by adding another road, you would think this should resolve the problem. Okay, now that we have this extra connection, the electricity problem should be solved. I think at this intersection I might be adding a roundabout, because I think we might be getting heavy traffic here. And yep, it solved the problem. I also would like to zone some commercial in the school block, just to give those children a place to shop at. Now, we have an increased demand for low-density residential. I'm going to be building another district for that population and be right back. Now on to adding the final touches. Here I'm going to add trees around the houses to give that realistic cozy neighborhood feeling. And we have unlocked a new signature building, Pop Musician Mansion. How exciting! Alright, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed this new modded series of Cities Skylines 2. And don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification button to keep you updated. I still haven't named the city yet, so feel free to comment your ideas in the comment section, and I'll catch you in the next one.